Clemson drops to 1-2. They seem like they lose pretty much every game against a Power 4 opponent these days. And I was feeling pretty down after that loss at Georgia Tech in Atlanta. I was there. I picked Clemson to lose 24-21. So I won't say I was surprised. Nailed the score exact. But that almost makes it worse, right? It's exactly what I was expecting. The offense was stuck in the mud. They couldn't do anything. And kind of all my fears were vindicated. They are who I thought they were after 2 games. It's everything we saw. And honestly, I think what I'm really left with is I was really high on this team after the offseason. I was down on them last year. I thought they were sort of fraudulent. They were not one of the 12 best teams, even though they made the playoff. But they brought pretty much everybody back. That's not a knock on the guys they lost, like Brinkstool or Marcus Tate. Love Marcus Tate. But you should be able to overcome that, right? With the guys that are coming back, you would expect them to get better because Coach Dabo Swinney calls Clemson a developmental program. So you would think guys are going to get better. This team's going to improve. I had them going all the way to the national championship game before finally losing to Penn State, who also brings back a ton of talent. But I think that paradigm of development and getting better and bringing guys back, spending money on retention, I'm kind of questioning it now. So before I get into that, a couple things. First off, thank you to Ready Vets who sponsors this channel. If you have a dog or cat in the upstate, you ever need to get to a doctor immediately for them, that's the place to go. Also, want to remind you, like and subscribe to this video. Now, before I kind of dive in, I want to give some exceptions. I want to note, Adam Randall's been awesome, so not criticizing him in this. I thought he was good running the ball and great in blocking on the edge, getting some of these screens to work. So all the kudos in the world to Adam Randall. Sammy Brown on defense, Will Helt on defense. Ronan Hannafin's been the guy who's really emerged on that defense. DeMonte Capehart, Avion Terrell's still good. So a lot of credit to those guys. Don't really want to – I want to pull them out for what I'm about to criticize. And even Brian Wesco, despite the drops, he's electric. He's really talented. So credit to them. There are at least partial exceptions to what I'm about to say. But more guys on Clemson this year, who were on the team last year, have gotten worse than have gotten better, which is completely inexplicable. There's no way I could have predicted that. No one really predicted that. The most obvious one, of course, is Cade Klubnik. He's got the same offensive coordinator. He's got the same receivers. Yes, Antonio Williams is out, but Tyler Brown's really good, and he's open a lot of the time, so I'm not really giving that as an excuse. His offensive line, in theory, should be as good or better, bringing 4 starters back, and yet Klubnik is a lot worse. He has 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 59% completion percentage. Last year, that percentage was over 63%. He had 36 touchdowns to just 6 picks. His PFF grade, therefore, has gone a lot way down. There's really no logic to it. He's just playing worse for some reason. I don't know why he became a worse player. Maybe this is just a theory. He read all those press clippings. He heard all the Heisman hype, and it either made him nervous or made him lazy. I don't know. From everything I heard, he was working extremely hard, showing a lot of leadership. So I don't really think it could be that. But maybe he got to his head and worried him, like pressured him. But then there's a lot of guys who thought, okay, now they're gonna kind of rise to the challenge, rise into the role. You lose Marcus Tate, but hey, Harris Sewell played a lot. Now he'll progress and he'll at least be as good as Marcus Tate. Haven't seen it. Colin Sadler, he's playing a bigger role in part because Tristan Lee's out, but also it seemed like he had won that job over Harris Sewell. But his PFF grade's about the same. It's not good. Tristan Lee, I know he was out the last 2 games, but he wasn't good against LSU. He regressed. Ryan Linthicum hasn't been a particular sore spot by any means, so I want to bag on him, but his PFF grade is down. He hasn't looked any better. Peter Woods, he doesn't look better. He doesn't look like a top 5 draft pick. I'm not saying he looks terrible, but he has not developed or progressed in any special way after hearing how he's in so much better shape and all of that. T.J. Parker has 1 sack. He does not look like a top 5 draft pick. How about T.J. Moore? He has 72 yards. He was great as a freshman. Why is he worse? It doesn't make sense to me. Ricardo Jones had a really nice freshman year. He's having a really tough year. Brandon Strozer got really, I don't know that I've ever seen it so bad. There's 3 plays in a row that went to his side. They were all kind of little short passes, short screens, not necessarily coverage busts, but plays where he needed to go make a tackle, and all 3 times in a row, he couldn't do it. They pulled him from the game. He just doesn't look like he's ready to play. My son Kelly, another guy that I thought was a weird take, but they seem like they were developing him. He hasn't played. David Eziomume, a take I loved and I thought was going to be really great, but he hasn't played in the big moments, a little bit against LSU, and he's kind of disappeared. And Gideon Davison actually took his snaps against Georgia Tech. So it seems like he's fallen back. Guys aren't emerging. Not that many guys are developing. Ronan Hannafin, another exception I should have named. He's really stepped up. Very few guys like that. A lot more guys look worse. And that just doesn't make a lick of sense to me. And I think what is so disheartening about it is it was brutal when Clemson was really young and they weren't using the portal and they were staying young. And so they weren't going to be as good these last couple of years because they were younger. They needed to use the portal, but they didn't. Well, now all of that is crescendoed, right? And now you've got this veteran team. But LSU, they had to replace a whole load of talent. And so they went to the portal and they purchased it, and they're better than Clemson. Texas Tech, they went to the portal, got one of the 2 or 3 best transfer portal classes. They're probably about better than Clemson. Even Vanderbilt, who Clark Lee, when he first got there, his plan was kind of like what they used to do at Wake Forest. We're going to redshirt guys. We're going to keep them for 5 years. We're going to develop them better. All these, Alabama's going to get guys for 3 years, then they're going to go pro. And we won't beat Alabama every year, but when we have a lot of 4th and 5th year guys who we've developed, that's our year. Well, Vanderbilt kind of bailed on that plan, and they've said it as much. They were losing guys to the portal, or it just made more sense. They had to refocus on goal number 1, winning. And so they went out and they got a guy like Diego Pavia and a lot more guys like that. And look what they're doing. They blew out South Carolina, maybe the only solace of this weekend, because they're really good, because they went out and they made goal number 1. How can we win more games immediately? Go out and get the best players immediately. And so it seems like that style is maybe better. You even look like a Florida State. Yeah, it blew up last year, but they went out again, got a bunch of new guys. Tommy Castellanos, they got their quarterback through the portal. They look amazing. And so it's just disappointing to see that this model doesn't seem this model of really developing players and character. I don't know if it's the best anymore. And that's disappointing for the sport. But I think where I'm at a loss is, these past couple of years where Clemson has sometimes been good, but maybe not as good as we had hoped. There were pretty clear things I could point to. What are we doing with some of these really inexperienced coaching hires? Why are we hiring Clemson grads because you coached them or you knew them or you went to college with them at Alabama? Why get some star coaches? Go out, get an elite offensive line coach. They did that. They got Matt Luke. Go out and get an elite defensive coordinator. Don't hire an analyst. Well, they did that with Tom Allen. That one seems to be really good. Matt Luke seems to be really good. So I can't point to that. And I've complained that they didn't use the portal, but now they did. And Will Helt's like one of the best players in the defense. Maybe they should have used it more. But I kind of don't disagree with the way they did it this offseason. Plug the obvious holes and develop the guys who are coming back. So I don't know that I have a big problem with that either. So it's hard to, I'm kind of have an analytical mind, and that's what I try to bring to this, to point out, specific things that they need to do differently. But I don't know that there's an obvious one. Shaq Lawson, former superstar defensive end for Clemson, his brother Jaheim's on the team. He's actually one of the few guys maybe that deserves a shout out. But he said that maybe the NIL, there's no dogs on this team. NIL changed everything, which, he's saying it maybe a little flippantly, but he is getting at something, maybe a root cause of some sort of cultural change. And I don't know if that's true. I'm not in that locker room. Really, staff and maybe only even players could really tell us if there's any truth to that. But maybe there is, because you've got the top level coaches. You're paying these coaches a lot, and they're proven. You're not just throwing money around silly. You're getting proven guys. Even Garrett Riley, who I should talk about, he brought TCU to a national championship game. Maybe his offense doesn't scale, and maybe that's why they got blown out by UGA. But by and large, this is a coaching staff that is mostly pretty experienced. Doesn't look that flawed. There's some nitpicks I would have, but it's not like it was a couple years ago. So maybe it's a culture issue. I don't know. Garrett Riley's contract expires after this year, so we'll see what they do there. But I don't think that is the full problem. There's something more. I don't know what it is exactly. Let me know in the comments. I thought about not even recording after this loss, but thought this would be cathartic for me and hopefully cathartic for you as well, to kind of, I went to church this morning and that helped, but I was still dwelling, and I was like, I need to record a video, get my thoughts out there, get it and kind of be done with it and move on. And I hope that leave your comments in the comment section below, and hopefully that does the same for you, because I don't think this team is much more than an 8-win team. It might be 6 or 7 wins going into that South Carolina game. South Carolina, fortunately, does not look good. They got killed by Vanderbilt, which I know I already said, but I wanted to say it again. But yeah, guys have gotten worse. It's really inexplicable. I feel like the predictions we had coming into the year were very logical and made sense. And this result makes no sense. Let me know what you think. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you commenting and liking. As always, go Tigers. Thank you to our sponsor, Ready Vets. If you live in the upstate and have a dog or cat that needs immediate care, Ready Vets is the place to go. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe.